In this episode, we go from one of the best weeks on board to the worst week of our lives. But first, sourdough problems.
I've got a disaster, Tony.
A disaster.
It is, and my sourdough's literally just been whatevered and popped in the oven and it's now sinking.
Yep. That is the case when you run out of gas.
Mm-hmm. So these are our two big gas bottles.
Now if you know Bryony, you know how stressed she gets over sourdough. Yeah, I forgot which way it goes.
Righty tighty lefty loosey.
I think it might be different for gas.
Oh. Some people can just never get it right, eh? Hello. Looking a bit ominous. Think of the sourdough, Tony. Do it for the sourdough. Everyone's bored. Try and guess whose forehead that is on Tony's bottom. Giving our viewership a challenge. Guess whose forehead it is that's poking up out of your pants.
We have two large LPG bottles stored in their own lockers at the stern of the boat. Usually they last anywhere between 3 to 5 months. But now we're making a lot more bread in the Caribbean. It's towards the lower end of that scale. I think it looks good now. You can probably turn the gas back on. Yeah.
Save my sourdough.
The bread was fine. So I've just seen a massive turtle swim by the boat, which I told Bryony about, but she missed it. So we're gonna go around this headland where there's meant to be a good reef that we can dive down, snorkel around and see all the fish and hopefully some more turtles. It was a lovely day today. It's a little bit windy, but it's still warm.
I'm always the one that misses the turtles because Tony's, I know, up here more, and I'm always down below editing. And he always goes, "There's a massive turtle!" And just as I come up the companionway, he goes, "Oh, it's dive back down." So I'm going turtle hunting today. People. Any animal in its right mind won't be here right now. I mean, we'll see. But it's heaving. And I'm very disappointed. We're going to throw our little dinghy stern anchor overboard. It's really shallow here. It's so clear though. Like, look at that. Woohoo! Water looks amazing. That water looks phenomenal. Ready, steady, go! saw a barracuda.
Did you? Someone's rather cold.
Yeah. I was having too much fun. No, I stayed in for a bit long. I didn't see a turtle, but I saw everything else. And I swam away fast from a big, mean-looking barracuda. I just had a face like thunder. And parrotfish, and amazing big sea urchins, lots of other fish, and I have no idea what most of them were. I do need to get warm now.
I head back.
I think it's time. Should have brought a towel.
And after all that, Bryony still hadn't seen a turtle, and all she wanted to do was to swim with the turtles. So in a bid to swim with the turtles, we set off to find the turtle that was swimming close to our boat earlier on, so Bryony could swim with the turtle.
It's our last morning in anchorage because we're off. Dean's up on deck. Tony's just taking the boot off the main. He's hiding. We're going to We are going to the main island of Guadeloupe. Which is exciting. Tony's promised yet another nice anchorage. This one's been lovely. It's been really nice. Really excited in snorkeling. It's been really comfortable. There was a little bouncy last night. But yeah, it's time to move on. Pastures new or waters new.
Currently left the anchorage. We're just sailing in between the islands at the moment. There's not that much wind. It's maybe 20 knots, but it's more than 10. But yeah, the wind's got wrapped around the island, so it was a bit finicky just a minute ago.
Yeah, it was a bit, wasn't it? We're coming and going. We're going over there.
So in 5 miles or so, we'll probably have no winds behind the island.
That's the main island of Guadeloupe. Well, as we all know, the very wishful thinking fishing line's going back out. There is a school over there, which we're hoping to avoid. Don't really want to have to go through that. We've got one reef in the main anyway, because we thought it's going to be 20 knots. That was a bit of a disappointment though. And we're edging closer. How else couldn't it skip?
Could be a lot worse.
Could be motoring.
We will be motoring.
We will be motoring. Quite a long way, I think. We've got the jibe preventer on just because we are fairly downwind. We don't want to jibe the boom. Done that once before in the Gibraltar Straits. That was enough terror for a long time. Busy at the moment, so that's us here. The black one. We've got a boat coming up behind which is going to pass close, Killy B, but for the overtaking vessel, so they should stay up our way. We have a go-off tanker, which I'll show you at the moment, in a second, which is passing rather close for comfort, but it's passing ahead of us and it will be okay. And we also have double vision, which the tanker has had to call up because they were obviously going to mark out their planning to pass. If we are all sailing vessels, ideally the tanker not being sailing and being under engine, would stay out the way of us, but if it does get shallow, for example, they're restricted in that aspect. We would need to move out their way. And there's our tanker. There it is. A little close, but never mind. It's moving slowly and it's obviously really on high alert, so that's good. We've had a wind shift, so the wind, that little blue triangle there, is directly ahead of us, which means we have had to centralise the mainsail, and we've taken in the foresails. A bit frustrating. It's actually come back as well now, the wind. It's very, very up and down. It's just a bit super sheltered and then it funnels through with all the mountains, so inconsistent winds. And there is a squall ahead of us, so who knows what that's gonna do. Never mind. Yeah, it's gone a bit grey and gloomy quite quickly. Next game, avoid all the pots. Everywhere.
But then I got a message from back home that changed everything. We couldn't bring ourselves to talk to the camera.
What we haven't told anyone was that just 2 days after we finished our Atlantic crossing, Tony's little sister, Navidad, had gotten in touch to tell us that her wonderful fiancé John, who she was due to marry this year, had been diagnosed with a brain tumour after suffering with persistent headaches.
He was waiting to start chemotherapy, but it was delayed due to the tumour causing him to have seizures.
Today's message from Navidad was to tell us that John had just had a huge seizure that they couldn't stop any other way than taking him to ICU and putting him in an induced coma. To the heartbreak of all who met him, for to know him was to love him, he passed away a few days later.
His friends are running the Dublin Marathon next month in his memory and to raise money for brain tumour research. If anyone feels like they'd like to donate towards this wonderful cause and the legacy of an incredible man taken way too young, the link is in the description below.
All we could do was exist quietly, picking up the camera occasionally as we looked after ourselves for the next few weeks, but not really feeling like chatting to it. The rest of this video shows those clips, with a piece of music chosen by Navidad in John's memory. It's called Kindness Courage, which we think is perfect. He was so kind that even whilst laying in hospital, he was online looking to buy the nursing staff gift cards to say thank you. And he sure as hell is one of the most courageous men that we have ever met. In the next episode, we decide it's time that we head to somewhere new. So we make the short trip over to the next bay in Guadeloupe. Here is where we have a really cool and convenient food delivery before we dinghy out to visit an amazing small island with incredible marine life.